A very warm welcome. Today we have with us Mr. Rajeev Khade, who is the Vice President and Global Head Information Technology at Amazure.
Yep.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us at CXO TV.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So, before we head towards the questions, we would like to know how your experience has been so far, how your journey has been. If you can briefly talk about it for our CXO TV audience.
All right. Once again, good morning to all of you. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the entire team for giving me an opportunity to express my views on this forum. About me, I have around 37 years of experience to my credit, and mostly it has been in the manufacturing industry. I have been working as a Vice President Global Information Technology in the current and past assignments. I was looking after the entire IT responsibility for the infrastructure side and also for the application side at my previous organizations. And mostly into the automation, digitalization, use of latest technologies, what we call as AR, VR, and then low-cost automation, robotic process automation, all these things. That I've been doing in the last assignment and also in the previous assignment. My earlier up to that assignment was with Johnson Controls. I was looking after as Asia IT infrastructure. And the focus was more on the infrastructure upgradation to the latest standards and making the factories future ready. And when I started that at Johnson Controls, it was all the beginning of the so-called buzzwords, the IoT projects, all those things. So I have rich experience in this area. And in my last assignment, completed more than 400 plus digitalization projects covering wide departments, right from the HR to operations to the CRM and all those departments I have covered. So good amount of experience in digitalization and automation field. So that is why that is what my asset I can say that.
Sir, it has definitely been an incredible journey for you for so long in this industry.
Yes.
So we would actually like to know that in terms of the manufacturing industry, so how has the undergoing the significant transformation that we have seen over the recent years? We can talk about the recent trends that have been shaping the industry and how are these technologies being used? If you can share some insight to that.
Yeah, that's a very good and interesting question, according to me. As I said, I have spent a lot of years in the manufacturing industry. And I remember the days when I started my IT career in manufacturing industry. It was the age of 286 and 386 computers, the big boxes and the heavy monitors and all those things. So I come from that background, and I started with the computerization of all the desktops, laptops, and implementation of ERP applications and then connectivity. So if I recollect that particular journey from the age of 286, 386, there has gone a tremendous change in the entire manufacturing industry with respect to use of computers, use of technologies. The earlier so-called buzzwords like digitalization, Industry 4.0, were all the buzzwords, and cloud also for that matter. So earlier people used to think, CEOs and CFOs used to think, why we should move our data to cloud? It is not secured. We will not allow. But nowadays, the same question is being reversed and being asked as to why not to go to cloud. So that is the tremendous change that has happened. And also in the recent past, industries have been adopting these technologies, and the operations people would like to find out as to how their future shop floor will look like. So that is where the digital twin and all those concepts come into picture. So they would like to visualize as to how my future factory will look like. Where do I place my machines? How do I align those machines? How do I connect those machines? How these machines will talk to each other? So those thoughts are there in the senior management people, and that is what we have been doing in the past also. So, and if we take the latest example of the post-pandemic period, so that has given us a tremendous kind of lesson, and that was an unprecedented time which nobody estimated that such thing will happen over the world. But things changed for better, and it has given us a learning. So the post-pandemic period, we witnessed a lot of changes in industrialization, and it is rightly said by one of the industry stalwarts that the amount of digitalization that had gone into the industry for past, say, 10 or 15 or 20 years was at a slow speed. But in the last pandemic period, that is a 2 or 3 years period, the amount of digital has gone. It has surpassed the past records. So people have been adopting digitalization as a way of life. Digitalization is the quickest way of adopting to manufacturing excellence. Digitalization as a way of improving on various standards, quality, benefits, and all those things. So that has been the change right from the days of computerization until today. We have seen a drastic amount of change. People are adapting, industries are adapting to this way of life, as that has given much more benefits and adding value to the business. So that is, according to me, the tremendous change that industry has witnessed with respect to digitalization and automation.
Great to know that you have actually seen that huge amount of transformation taking place. And I couldn't really agree more to what you said. The transformation that we have been seeing over the years
Yes.
just took a significant pace in times of COVID. Definitely, we have seen a lot of struggle, but in terms of the developmental sector, we have gone more advanced. And talking about this COVID-19 pandemic, I think it has brought a lot of disruption to our supply chain as well. So, if you can highlight what are the major lessons for the manufacturers who learned from these crisis situation, and what were the things that the manufacturing industry started adopting in terms of resilience and agile strategies needs to be there to manage this future disruptions.
Yeah, another good question from your side. Thank you so much. See, whatever happens in life, in personal life, or for that matter, professional life, it happens for the good, and it always teaches us some kind of other lesson. That is one thing. And unless and until anything drastic happens, people or the mindset is not tuned to think out of the box. They are always thinking in the same direction as to this is the track that I should follow, unless and until there is some kind of major disruption. So this is COVID-19 is one kind of disruption that happened to the entire industry, and that made people and the industries to think out of the box, and as to out of the box in the sense as to how we can supersede this situation, how we can overcome this situation, how we can cross these hurdles of the situation. So that is exactly happened with respect to industries, the SCM and all those things. Earlier, people were used to getting the raw materials, getting the supplies from one kind of source, and they were not in a ready position to think as to what kind of be the alternate source of supply. Is there any backup for that? Is there any third backup for that? So when this COVID-19 struck and entire supply chain had come to a standstill, industries just started thinking as to how do I procure the raw material required to keep the shop floor running? Is there any kind of alternative source, and how I can source it? If one line fails, then what is the another line that I should source? What is the third line I should source? So this is what the COVID-19 made people think, and people, especially the purchasing guys, started thinking with this line, because they had a tremendous pressure from the manufacturing operation side that the shop floor or the line should continue, and there should not be any kind of disruption. So thinking on those lines, people started procuring raw materials from alternate source of material, started building up them, and distributing the amount of workload. Earlier, it was only for one kind of source of raw material, one supplier. But when this happened, they started thinking in different manner, and they started dividing the workloads or the requirements to 1, 2, 3, 4 suppliers, and sourcing them from the different source of suppliers. That also led to thinking as to within how much time I will get the raw material from one source. If it is taking time, if the lead time is more, then how do I reduce the lead time from this one particular supplier? Is there any alternative source of supplier who will give me the raw material in the least possible time? If not, who is the third supplier? So that kind of thought went into these people's mind, and they developed the alternative source of material. And this is how the supply chain, which was disrupted quite a lot, started filling the gap. And this is how people adopted the various sources. So this is one way I can say that a good lesson learned by the industry to think out of the box and procure the raw material in different tracks and sources.
Definitely, the entire industry has gained momentum. Actually, depending on the technologies, not just the industries, even the common people have been so much tech driven into this.
Yes.
Coming to this technological aspect, like we have so much of new technologies coming up, like IoT, AI, automations. So these are gaining so much of prominence in this time, and not just in any particular industry, it is also inclusive of the manufacturing industry. So, what are the technological revolutionizing production process and driving efficiency gains from the manufacturer? And how are these technologies driving it?
Yeah, good. Now, see, in the manufacturing industry, especially, there is a set process of norm for conducting a particular activity.
Right.
There is set steps involved in conducting a particular activity. Be it any kind of activity, it's a manufacturing, it's a quality, it's a the shop floor dispatch activity, or any kind of supply chain activity. There are steps involved in it. So, so when we study these particular steps as to how many steps are involved to complete the activity, if there are 1 to 10 steps involved and it taking time as to say, for example, 1 hour, then people started thinking as to how I can reduce this particular cycle time. How can reduce the number of steps involved in completing a particular process? If it is being completed within 1 to 10 steps, can I reduce this number of steps to say, for example, 6 or 7 steps? Can I reduce the number the hours of time required, say from 1 hour, if I can reduce it to say 45 minutes, 50 minutes, then that 15 minutes time is a time saving. The number of steps from 10 to say, for example, 6, the 4 number of steps are saved. So that leads to saving in terms of time, saving in terms of dollars involved, and also without compromising on the quality, there is a improvement in the quality. So this is how people started thinking how I can add value to the manufacturing process and how I can do the manufacturing process excellence. That is what exactly I have done in my past assignments. I studied each step, each process step by step, went to the shop floor, took my notebook, written down the number of steps, and I started thinking, coming back to my office, started thinking how I can do it. Then creating a kind of proof of concept as to earlier process and later on process. Then before and after, normally we call it. So before the changes, the process was being followed in a particular manner, and after the changes, the process is followed by a different manner. So giving a proof of concept to the stakeholders, the operations people, they got convinced as to this is the right approach that we should have taken. So giving one by one the proof of concept to the stakeholders, appeal to them, and they themselves started coming back saying that yes, we would like to automate our process because that is adding a value to our entire manufacturing process as that is helping us in terms of savings, that is helping in terms of saving in time, and also the quality wise also. So this approach, when we take it in our manufacturing industry, especially manufacturing industry, that leads to step by step improvement, and ultimately leads to addition, business value addition. That is what the approach the manufacturing industries are also taking, and that is proving great. Great results are being obtained by people. And digitalization is the way of life. And without digitalization, you cannot. If I say, people will not be able to survive. So it may not be the wrong statement, but it is the requirement of the hour, I can say. Need of the hour. That's how people are adopting digitalization and automation in various ways. And people are thinking all the time as to how I can improve upon, how I can digitalize my process, how I can automate my process. So digitalization, to answer your question, digitalization is one of the technology that industries are following. Apart from that, there are various other technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, the digital twin I said about it, and the repetitive tasks that are being done by any person in the industry, whether he is from the purchase, whether he is from the accounts, or whether he is from the manufacturing shop floor. The number of repetitive steps that he has to take, it's a kind of monotonous job for him. What if we automate that process? What if we reduce the number of steps? That's a value addition to him, and his efficiency gets boosted up. Say, for example, if we take an example of a purchase, or if we take an example of accounts, the person has to do the same thing day in, day out. The bill passing, for example, he has to check the bills. If it is as per the purchase order, check it. If it is as per the purchase order, then pass it. What if we automate this process? What if a person is doing, say, 100 bill passing in a particular day? What if I automate that process, and if I do 500 processing in a day? So that adds to the value. The person feels boosted, the efficiency is increased, the output is increased. The same thing happens with the shop floor. At the shop floor, at the packaging side, if a shop floor person is able to pack, say, for example, 10 boxes in 1 hour, what if we automate that process? What if we add concepts like pick to light and all those things? Then the same efficiency gets improved, and in an hour, more number of boxes can be packed. So this is what the examples I'm giving. digitalization, augmented reality, virtual reality, repetitive task, use of AR, VR. And another thing that we brought in was about the concept of HoloLens, Microsoft HoloLens, to name a specific thing. It's a kind of remote support that a shop floor person can get. If a machine fails, for example, and the machine is from some country in Europe, the person who has to come and rectify that machine will take at least 15-20 days to rectify that. But if that HoloLens concept is used, he can get an online support, and the person sitting in Germany guide the person sitting in here on the shop floor, and the problem gets resolved. So this is one of the technology that people have started using it, and we have used it. So these are the various technologies which helps the manufacturing industry to automate the process, enhance the process, and thus adding value to the business. That's our views on that.
Well, I think definitely you have rightly pointed out, like in terms of, through these technologies, rather, the efficiency of work has, increased, and
Yes.
the entire work process has gone much more smooth. And it's very inspiring to know that we have actually, those efforts of getting to feel and know the first-hand experience
Right.
to bring those changes, rather.
Yes.
Really inspiring. So also at the same time, I think we will like to talk about the governmental priorities. So one of the important things that are being prioritized for our upcoming years are sustainability. So
Yeah.
the sustainable and eco-friendly practices are given so much of importance, uh, especially manufacturing industry. So how is this industry embracing this green initiative, in order to reduce the environmental impact and promote sustainability?
Yeah, but I can say that, say 15, 20 years back, there was not much awareness about this concepts such as sustainability, green initiatives. So people they were not aware or conscious about these things. But now, because of the various initiatives that government is also taking and the use of technologies, the industries are becoming aware, and they are coming forward on these things as to how we can make our factories more energy efficient, how we can make it more sustainable, how we can reduce the carbon footprint as such. So there are various norms established by the government, something it is called CGHS norms, and then energy efficiency. To take an example, in a manufacturing industry, there is a lot of amount of electricity being used, for example. So electricity is nowadays I can say cautious, costlier, and how we can reduce the dependency on the energy, electrical consumption. So manufacturing industries have started to how we can optimize the usage of electricity consumption. Is there any kind of alternative source of energy that we can use it? So the solar energy is one thing. So I can see that a lot of manufacturing industries have put solar panels on their factories top floors. So use of solar energy, and then using it for captive consumption, then getting a kind of reduction in the overall electricity consumption. Use of energy meters, how we can optimize the use of energy, electrical energy. Various technology advancements have been done in that, and people have started monitoring the electricity consumption in a very dynamic way by use of various applications, and dynamically switching the use of the electricity consumption from one machine to another, putting it off whenever not required, restarting it on when it is required. So that is one area of electricity consumption, energy consumption, use of energy meters, that many people, many industries are doing that. Again, on the reducing the carbon footprint. So whatever emissions happen through the factories, whether it's a manufacturing industry, whether it's a chemical industry, so industries have become very conscious about that as to how we can reduce this carbon emission. What is that we can do to reduce it? What steps need to be taken? How we can do it? What is the efficiency that we can bring in? And what they monitor this carbon emissions on a very regular basis. It is being monitored, and this has become nowadays mandatory in the manufacturing industry and the operations people also. They monitor it on a weekly, 15 days and a monthly basis. These are some of the examples that I can say that initiatives from government have led them to work aggressively on this as I took the example of electricity, as I took the example of the carbon emissions. And there can be various other norms also, wherein the industries are becoming aware and they're taking a lot of steps to control this and making more sustainable for the future requirements.
Right, sir. So, while we were speaking back earlier, that digital transformation. So, in the concept of digital transformation and technologies that we have, so I think the importance of data, the significance of data is always there. So, we would actually like to know, like, data analytics and real-time insights are very essential in optimizing this manufacturing operation. So, how are the manufacturers leveraging this data-driven decision making to enhance their product quality, first of all, as well as their streamlining their supply chain and respond to customer demands more effective?
Yeah, good question. So what I see is data is there. Data is getting generated day in, day out. Every hour, every minute, data is getting generated. Huge amount of data is getting generated. But only thing is that it is getting generated and it is in the raw form. And we need to make the best use of that data, and how you can you should churn out that data, how you can make a meaningful insight and take data-driven decisions of that. So it all depends on the industry people, and especially the operations and the IT people, as to how you can make the best use of this data. Say, for example, business intelligence. Business intelligence is built on the platform of data. The data in the raw form is extracted, and then it is churned out, and then it is sliced and diced, and then put it into separate intelligence technology or intelligent machine device, and then make the best use of that data. So this is in short the process that industries are following. So making a meaningful insight from the data is very, very important. What is that has gone into my data which has been generated? What is the data that gives me an insight that needs to be understood? Say if we take the example of inventory. What is the kind of inventory that is there with me in various forms it is. So if I come to know, if a CEO of a company comes to know at a given moment of time as to how much my money is stuck up into raw material, how much money is stuck up into WIP, how much is into finished goods, how do I convert this raw material to WIP to finished goods at the shortest possible time? Because inventory is a kind of money that is blocked inside that. So unless and until you change that, manufacture that, ship it to the customer receives that, and then it is the money is received, the cycle doesn't get completed. So every CEO or the CFO is always worried as to how do I reduce the money blocked in the shop floor. So this data comes into picture, and they give them a meaningful insight. And if a dashboard view always helps for a CEO to see it, the CFO to take the decisions. So this is where the data comes into picture. The data that is generated in whatever form, it should be put to use in a meaningful way. And a dashboard, if we are able to give it to the top people, then they will be able to take the insightful decisions on that, and then take the appropriate steps to reduce this particular cycle and faster time to market, what is normally called it. So this is one example that I have given as to how the data should be put to use and how it should be put to meaningful use as such. And there can be a number of cases wherein data is always there and how it should be used. Say, for example, if you are preparing for a board meeting and a lot of numbers, a lot of graphs, a lot of pictures and everything is to be given. If one has to prepare that manually, which I used to do it in my earlier old days, it used to take a lot of time. Put all those things on a paper, put it on an Excel, prepare some graph, prepare some dashboard. It used to take a number of hours. But the same thing is now available at a few clicks away, and that ready information is available not only for today, but it's also available as a trend, what has happened in the past. And the same thing applies for forecasting also. What will be my tomorrow? What will be my 1 week later? What will be my forecast for next month? So this is all possible because of the data. So it all depends as to industry experts as to how we make a use of that particular data, which is already there. It's already there in our software. It's already there in our computers. It's already there everywhere. We have to make best use of that. So data-driven decisions, according to me, is the right approach that industries are taking, and they should take it. and data stored anywhere, it should be secure. But data security is a different topic. Let's not go into that. But to answer your question, data-driven decisions are very, very important. And we as an industry leader have to make best use of data so that the effective and efficient decision happens in the industry.
I think very true. And data is something that is so crucial for any industry to run. And as you said that, in order to have that optimized outcome for the industry or the organization, we have to have that effective analyzing of that and take wiser decisions, as you mentioned. Also, I think we would little bit more to understand one of the concepts that is getting so much of attention in manufacturing industry, which is the digital twins. So if you can highlight, like, how are these digital twins benefiting the industry and what impact they can bring on in terms of product decision, product designing, production, optimization, as well as maintenance of this entire process.
Yeah, this is another topic of interest to me. Before answering this question, let me take back to my earlier days, wherein if at all a company wants to establish new manufacturing footprint, then it was all manual work. Once the civil work is over, then they used to plot a graph or on a paper and discuss, debate and everything as to which machine should be where, which other machine should be where, how it is to be connected, what will be the distance between the two machines, what will be the shop floor movement of material and people and all this. So it was a kind of brainstorming that used to happen for long, long hours. Debates and fights used to go as to, no, this machine should be here, no, this machine should be here, this should be material inward gate, this should be material outward gates. I have gone through that, that's why I'm saying. But things have changed a lot. I can see that whenever a company wants to establish a new footprint, as a greenfield project, it's a latest technology that comes into our help as such, and digital twins are being used. So digital twin is a very vast concept, but one of the examples that I'm doing it, giving it to you. So with the help of digital twin, it is possible to map, sense, with the help of sensors, map your entire shop floor as to the length, breadth and everything, height and everything. And depending on your requirement of the industry, manufacturing industry, what you want to achieve and what is the area that is available, the number of machines can be mapped to each other. The placement, physical placement of the machines can be mapped on the digital twin. Digital, I can say that virtually it can be mapped. And you can align those machines in a proper way, in a proper fashion, which machine, which process, which steps, how the piping should be, how the sensor should be, how the CCTV should be, everything that can be mapped virtually before physical laying down the machines, before physically connecting the machines. So that is one of the examples that I'm trying to give you, how the digital twins help you. So this is when it is a greenfield new project. Also within the existing brownfield projects also, this is possible as to how you can optimize the usage of the machines by your digital twins. Suppose, for example, there is a blockage in terms of material movement, in terms of energy distribution from one machine to another, in terms of shop floor movement, as I said, then it is possible to optimize this process, optimize the usage of machines, optimize the connectivity of these machines with the help of digital twins. So that is with respect to the greenfield and the brownfield example. And another thing is the man and material movement. So if you want to optimize a particular process at one particular station, then it is possible to do that with the help of digital twin, with the help of best use of so-called CCTVs. CCTV is just a start and that I'm mentioning. It is much more ahead of that. With the help of cameras, you can monitor the movement of people working over there, monitor the movement of material over there, how you can optimize it, for how long time a person was there at a particular machine, why he was waiting for there unnecessarily for a longer time. You can safeguard the machines, safeguard the movement of the people from safety angle, as to if there is any dangerous movement of material, dangerous movement of people around a restricted zone, then we can restrict that. So there are a number of examples by which the entire shop floor process can be enhanced, can be optimized with the help of this digital technologies, digital twins. I can speak out for this topic, but this is just a gist or the test that I would like to give as to how the digital twins come into picture and how the digital twins help in optimizing the resources for a new greenfield project and also for the existing brownfield projects.
I'm really, I don't know, in terms of while you spoke your earlier days, it actually made me realize that how technological advancement have changed our life so much and made things so much easier for us. So
Yeah.
I actually, talked of getting into, trying to understand with everything and how technology has changed completely. So
Yeah.
I think not just with the old traditional form of manufacturing industry, we have seen this the rise of e-commerce and how it has changed the customer expectation as well as experience. So
Yes.
how is this manufacturing industry adopting its production, its distribution strategies to cater to this digital era?
Yes. So again, going back to my earlier days, I remember whenever company used to get an order from his customers, then that order used to come in the earlier days on the fax machine. If you remember, there used to be the fax machines. There were physical printout that used to come, and on that physical printout, there used to be number wise. This is the order required. So many quantities are required. And if at all that fax comes in a proper fashion, yes, we are able to understand what the customers want to say. If it is not, then again we have to ask for the facts, call them, and ask them to explain as to what is exactly required. So that used to be in the earlier old days. But nowadays it is all the digital and the electronics and the technology. I can say that. So orders don't come on the fax. Order come on our portal, or orders come on the by way of different matters. Yes. So this is how the technology is helping us to get the customer satisfaction. And once the orders are received, the manufacturing process and everything starts, and accordingly we manufacture and in the shortest possible time, and then we supply to the customers. Now, once the material is ready, then there's a provision that we log into the customer's portal and then tell them that yes, your order is ready, and we are shipping that order to you, and it will reach your place within this time. There's an advance shipment notification ASN that is it is called as. So if a customer wants an order requirement, then they say that this is what is our requirement. The order is received at our computer servers. The computer generates that follow-up orders, and it is broken down into small pieces. And the shop floor people take it into manufacture. It is ready by way of all the dashboards. The dispatch material is ready, and the dispatch happens, and the same information goes to the customer that it has been dispatched. So just in time is one of the concepts that is many industries are using it, because the customer, many of the customers do not want to stock the finished goods in their shop floor because it causes a lot of inventory. So they will require that particular finished parts only when it is required on their assembly line. So this is one of the concept that many industries are now using it, because they don't want to stock and block the inventory. So just in time and advance shipment notice, and number of things are there which is helping the industries to process the requirements and ship the requirements to the customers. And e-commerce also comes into picture. Earlier, I remember payment used to happen on the physical checks, and the checks used to get deposited. It used to take 3-4 days to get credited. Nowadays, everything happens on NEFT and RTGS. So once you click over there, the money gets credited. So this is what is happening in the entire digitalization and the e-commerce world. And that is what is changed. And that is the way of life, according to me, for individuals like us and for the industry also. So that is what has changed over the years.
So I think, as you pointed out, the digital transformation era that we are living right now, and how the change has been from the past traditional manufacturing to the present. So, if you can highlight some of the tech focus areas and priorities that manufacturing industry is going to take forward over the next 5 years.
See, the focus areas are, as I said, as we talked at length, digitalization. Before the COVID area, nobody was much aware about digitalization. Even I used to get scared when a particular project comes for digitalization. I used to get worried as to how this is going to happen. But when I studied in detail and did homework and everything, I could easily cross 400 plus digitalization projects. So digitalization is one of the tech area, I can say that is going to remain for a longer time. It is not going to change as such. The LCA, low cost automation, robotic process automation, AR, VR, as I told, use of augmented reality. So these are going to stay, digital twin, these are going to stay for a longer time. And these are going to stay at least for next 3 to 4 years. and use of these technologies is definitely going to add value to the customers. And nowadays we are talking about artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence and the chat GPT. So this is getting a big question as to whether that is going to hamper our way of working, whether that is going to create a question mark on the jobs of the people. But every technology that comes is always a supplement, is always an addition to, and it always helps our people and the industry to enhance the process. So that is how we should look at it. And technologies, as I said, digitalization, LC, everything. So these are going to stay for a longer time. And artificial intelligence is going to make a drastic impact, and it is already there in place. It's not that it is coming in the future. It's already there in place, and this is going to stay for a longer time, and this is entirely going to revolutionize the way that we are working in terms of our personal life, in terms of professional life, in terms of the industry, whether it's a manufacturing industry or any industry. So this is going to stay for a longer time, and more people and the industries should focus on this as to how to adopt these technologies and make the best use of these technologies to enhance our way of working, to enhance our quality of life, and to add a meaningful impact to the opposite person, to the opposite industry that we are in.
Why you just spoke about how the future of the manufacturing industry is going to look like. So, could you just help us know, what are your beliefs in terms of the challenges and opportunities that the manufacturing industry is going to face, and how the technology and innovation is going to help manufacturers stay competitive in this rapidly evolving landscape?
Good question. Slightly lengthy question to answer, but I'll take it short. See, as I said, the technology is always there for our help to, and it is not a threat to our working. So making best use of these technologies is always a tough task for people in the industry, and they should think innovatively as to how I should make use of this technology and ensure that this technology is adopted in our lifestyle, in our industry. Challenges will be there, just like the challenge of the ChatGPT or the artificial intelligence. People think that this is going to be a threat to my working. Earlier, 30 years back, the computerization, everything, people used to think that these are going to take away our jobs. People will get redundant. They will not be required. But still, people are there. People are working. They are getting more opportunities. If not this, they are getting different opportunities. Think in a different way. The same thing applies here. It is going to be a challenge, yes. But we, as an IT industry people, manufacturing industry people, need to think and explore as to how we can make the best use of these technologies instead of thinking that this is going to be a threat to my way of working. No, it is not going to be a threat. It is going to be a supplement to the way you are working. So challenges will be there in life. Even in personal life also challenges are there. But we don't normally run away from that. We have to face the challenge and overcome those challenges. That's the way thing happens for the better. So the same thing applies in industry also. All these technologies will be there. And we are talking about, say, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT and whatnot. Tomorrow there will be a lot of other technologies which are already on the way to come, which we just cannot think of. Take, for example, the computers are identified by an IP address. Every computer is given an IP address. I'm sure that one day will come when every individual will have an IP address. He will be identified by an IP address. So is that a threat or a technological advancement? What are the benefits from that? What is that I'm going to get from that use of new technologies? If an IP address is assigned to me, what will be the benefits of that? There will be definitely certain benefits. The same way, the same thought process has to be there in individuals' mind and the industry leaders as to how do I make the best use of technology and help in enriching the lives, making more. And more important is, how do I make use of these technologies to gain a competitive advantage over my competitors? If I don't make use of that particular technology, my competitor will make the use of that technology and he will go ahead and I will miss the bus. That should not happen. So how do I think on this technological advancement is most important. One should not be scared. One should be open, willing to embrace those technologies and find out as to how more and more use of technology should be done. That's my, in a broader way, way of thinking.
As you really said that, people do fear with this advancement in technology. People are actually fearing, will technology be replacing so many job opportunities? But as you really mentioned that we have to have that positive outlook, and with technological advancement, there are more such opportunities to try for. So
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and sharing such insightful knowledge for our CXO TV audience. Really love the entire session, and thank you for sharing the time with us.
It's my pleasure. And once again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to express my views. And this was based on my years of experience and not to be correlated to one particular assignment that I handled in the past. So this is a kind of non-disclosure agreement. These are my views about the topic that you discussed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.